Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off.
Okay, here we go. Live, going live. 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Boom.
Oh,
You didn't say boom.
Boo.
well, it's not live yet on Facebook. It's only live on Zoom. Boom. There it is.
All right. Streaming now.
Now streaming.
Who's there? What?
Got it. Okay. All right. So
I'm gonna be totally serious.
are you? Oh, wow. Steve and Martha Hewitt already on from Columbus, Ohio.
Wildly windy and drizzly.
Yep.
It's actually mildly drizzly here, which is an amazing thing. Never happens.
Spared from historic tornado. That was crazy. All those tornadoes over there, probably south of you, more like, right? You're looking at 2 hours of wine zooms. Wow.
That sounds like a good day.
That's and
Yeah,
with a lot of wine at that, and a top of cannot. So we won't hold that against you because we're having a Grey Wolf. And,
that's some
and
good
Midnight.
drinking right there, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's some good stuff. Did you pick that up when you were here last? I met up with the Hewitts when they were in town. What was that, a month or so ago? 2 months ago now, maybe.
Are they still like you?
Apparently, they're still watching the show. So.
He just drove them around. Do some chauffeur and people will stick with you.
I think that's what JV does for me, right? She drives.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. My bad.
Remember, Joe, you were supposed to be nice.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
He asked us before the show to be
They
nice.
already said they're
I
big
did
fans
not
of
ask
Chris,
you
so he did
before
something
the
right.
show to be nice. I just said just do. So, okay. All righty. Waiting on over on Facebook to hear how things are over there.
Super live. All right. Well, I figured
Joe,
that's
you've got
gonna be
a hello from Jesse right now.
Thanks, Jesse. She's in the other room.
Great. The
I made all
entire
my
audience,
employees watch.
basically everybody that works at your tasting rooms and stuff.
See, they like me. I'm entertaining. And then now they get to see the entertainment of Rich and Jeffrey. So
It's gonna be hard to keep up.
You can be entertaining. You're not always.
can be, not always.
All right, let's get started, you guys. So welcome to another Paso Wine Hour. I'm Chris Toronto with the Paso Robles Wine Alliance, and thanks for joining us for our last show of the year. Yes, that is going to be the last one. You know, we've done 75 now total shows since March of 2020 when we decided we needed to do something when we weren't doing anything in a sense. So here we are with show number 75, I believe it is. And we decided for our last show of the year to do kind of a best, I called it best of 2021. To be perfectly honest, the team here at the Alliance was like, why don't you get a couple of the fun, entertaining people that, people like on the Paso Wine Hour and ask them to be on it and talk about what was good about 2021. And so it's like, okay.
Let me add a Joji right at the end.
I know, dude. It's like
canceled.
Well,
Really
Joe Barton, he
bottom
was
of the
actually my
barrel.
fifth choice. Richie and Jeff were first by far, tied. But Joe,
Five's not bad. I'll take it.
Shit, I would take 5.
I mean, he could have said 20th, so that means he actually likes me.
So what I did is I asked them to come on to each do 2 wines. So we're actually going to go over 1 white wine, 1 red wine today. We're going to talk about what was great about 2021. Mostly what was great about 2021 over 2020 is that it wasn't 2020, right? But we're going to go beyond that to talk a little bit about what happened in everybody's lives, including ours here at the Alliance, and what made this year so much better than the year before, as we were able to get out back in the market and do a lot of other things in person, right? Chef Jeff has also provided us with a bunch of yummy goodies. What I really liked about Jeff was every time he's been on the show.
He gives us free food.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't. And you know what, you guys, I actually did.
Ribs.
And so the ribs, but the way
Ribs.
Jeff would bring food up into frame, always fun, always entertaining, and really delicious.
Man, it's good.
I can't do it as well as him, but I tell you what, I really enjoy these
Hey,
ribs.
hey, look, real quick though. My mom's coming to steal the ribs. No, they're right here, Mom.
Yeah.
Hi,
Here,
Charlene.
Mom, come here. Come here.
Hi, Charlene.
Stick your head in. Here, Mom's coming to steal ribs.
They're so good.
We didn't do those back in our day.
I know, back in the day, there wasn't ribs here.
The new addition since we came downtown. And they're
For those who are watching and don't know who guests are on just yet and everything else, I want to take just a quick moment to introduce everybody. So Rich Hartenberger, Midnight Cellars. Woo! We've got,
This is the way you clap now.
that's, yeah. You're not frozen that way. Jeffry or Jeff Weisinger with Jeffrey's Wine Country Barbecue.
Woo!
Right on.
guys.
Thank you for joining me. And Joe Barton, Barton Family Wines, along with
Bumps.
Charlene. Thanks you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. So we've had a really fun and interesting year. We've been able to actually go back to in-person events, actually have people indoors, do all kinds of things that were really looking like, you know, kind of almost that back to normal. However, it's not entirely back to normal. But I do want to jump right into talking a little bit about what is almost back to normal and what's been really good about 2021. I want to start with Rich though, because Rich, you actually got back on the road and you're just back, you're days from being back from out selling wine out on the road again. Where were you?
I was in Boston. Boston's always been one of our very top markets. They like me there. So I always try to go to
Really?
a market where they at
Gotta
least they
find one.
tolerate me. They pretend they like me, which is great. You know, whatever. I'm a little much for some people, what my probation officer says. But yeah, traveling is an adventure if you haven't been out there in a while. There's a lot of people, you know, there's a government mandate on masks in the airport and masks on the planes, and people just don't get it. I don't know if they don't understand English or whatever, but the stewardesses or flight attendants.
Yes. Yeah.
And
PC,
don't call them
Richie,
waitresses
PC.
either. They don't like that at all. But they have a job to do. So people of us who are in a society, we wear our masks and we try to behave. A lot of people don't. So it makes things interesting on that end. The flights change like by the hour. So you never really know. You got to call the day of your flight to make sure it's still even there, because they don't rebook you. You have to do that your own self, which is odd to me. But you know what, we made it there and had a tremendous week. I mean, people were careful and understandably cautious about it. But everybody saw us. We had dinners, we had events, we had pourings. They were all well attended. Sold a lot of wine. People were pretty appreciative just to have someone there to go breathe on and that kind of stuff. So no, it was cool. It was a great week. Our distributor out there, Gilbert Distributing, is awesome. They're super fun to hang out with. So they like to party. I like to party. I can say that, right? But
That's
no
funny.
swearing. I was told no swearing.
Super PC.
Well, I think one of the
have always
important
been
things.
Super PC. They call me Super PC.
Richie.
But yeah, it was
Super
amazing.
Hartenberger.
Everybody was kind of in the Christmas spirit, which made it better because I kind of wasn't going out there. But saw some old friends, some old customers. We definitely did drink to excess a couple of days, which is harder on me than
We don't do that in this industry. We taste and sometimes we overserve ourselves, but we don't.
exactly. Well, I was overserved. It's not my fault, Chris. I don't overserve myself. I'm a professional. Surprised you don't know that. But anyway, the trip was fun. It was great to get out. Just for me personally, get out of California, get off the ranch is what we call it. See some people, sell some wine. It was kind of like the old days, except occasionally at the restaurant, you have to show your proof of vax or you don't get in the restaurant. They take that pretty seriously out there. So I am vaxxed and I don't have a problem with it. So they let me eat, let me in the place. But they ended up kicking me out at the end, but that's totally unrelated to the
Nothing to do with your vaccination status.
But yeah, it was a great trip. We had a blast. People were in a very good mood. People are just now starting to come out of this. I'm calling it coming out the other end, but they won't let me say that anywhere but on the Harvest shirt.
So we're not talking about the wine.
I think we are moving towards the end of it. So this year, I hope we'll be able, by this time next year, we'll be able to like write this whole thing off and be back to whatever normal the wine business provides.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that's so important about this industry is actually literally putting this in the mouths of people, because that's what helps sell it. And you're not going to. I know, but I
She said.
Yeah. Anyway, my son in trouble.
It's just too easy. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone out there.
So anyway, getting out there.
Softball.
It was a big old grapefruit, and I apologize. Anyway, getting out there in this business and doing this and actually like working the restaurants, working some in-store tastings and all that is actually a really important component to this, because for one thing, it helps with your distribution. And that's probably one of the things that was most hindered during the shutdown, because all of a sudden people aren't going to restaurants. So you've got restaurants not buying wine, retailers still buying wine, of course, because people just still needed to get their drink on, right? During 2020, but getting back out into those restaurants, it was so important. Was there any hesitance? I know you were here, there, and everywhere, but was there any hesitance from restaurants in purchasing wine? Were they like scaling back purchases with that maybe thought like, oh, well, what if we shut down again? We got to sit on all this inventory, or anything like that happening out there?
No, dude, people were super excited. The restaurants that I went to, both where we did dinners as well as just going around with a rep and pouring wines for, they were like so happy to see you, and the restaurants were packed. Everyone's in there not wearing a mask, because once you sit down, COVID doesn't affect anyone anymore. You can take your mask off. It's a medical miracle. But everybody in the restaurants was super stoked. Did a couple staff trainings. The reps were super stoked, or the servers were super stoked. Yeah, it was very positive. I don't think there was any kind of, I think the people that are afraid or concerned, and they have every right to be, that's fine. They stay home and they don't put themselves out there like that. And that's what
restaurants did you go to while you were back east, Rich?
Oh, dude, my favorite restaurant out there is called Via, and they've carried our wines for years now, and they have like 6 or 7 of our wines on the list, and then at least 2 on by the glass. And
is that in Boston itself, or is it outside?
No, Boston. The way the market works for a small guy like me is that you leave the big cities to the big producers, because they want to dominate that market. That's where they turn their big numbers. People don't want Midnight Cellars, quite frankly, at their restaurants in Boston. So we do the surrounding areas. I visited so many towns, I couldn't tell you exactly what town it's in, but it's VIA Ristorante, and they have the best meatballs in the business. It's so good.
Nice.
I know, chef.
Yeah.
No disrespect on their chef.
Out there.
You have a placement though down in downtown Boston itself, though, still, don't you? Over at
there's a couple down there, but like I said, that's kind of, we gave up on that kind of.
Yeah.
No, we're at Chris Peterson's store, Charles Street Liquors, because he's a buddy of mine. Got a chance to see him. He's the guy who's come out and helped us with Harvest for a couple times. And he's a super cool guy. So I stayed with him up at his beach house in Maine for a couple days.
All right. Peterson's moving up in the world.
Yes, he is, because it is just a beautiful place. It's right on the water. So they're very gracious hosts and super nice to hang with.
Nice. That's a good.
Got to mix the trip with fun and friends.
I've purchased plenty of wine from that shop when I go back to visit family, and so yeah, that's a good bottle shop. We're gonna jump over to Joe. Joe, you have been able to go kind of back to events on site, and your place in particular has lots of events. Now, did you do the Halloween event this year though? Because that's usually kind of your big one.
Yeah, I mean, events on in general, we started to do smaller events. I mean, the biggest thing for us has been, really expanding our outdoor spaces. and really utilizing them more significantly. Along with the distillery and the winery and the kitchen, I mean, the biggest thing is just seeing how busy it is. I mean, it is, for us, the hardest thing, or not even the hardest thing is, and a good thing is, I mean, we're seeing probably twice as many people as we've ever seen. And so the big thing is
So
really
even pre-2020, like you're talking 2019.
Yeah,
and before.
absolutely. I mean, so we're seeing such a significant amount of more people, and trying to provide the experience. I think for us, I mean, now being almost almost 2 years into this, when you think about it, I mean, it was March of 20 when we really first shut down. Now you're almost 2 years into it. I mean, my whole business model's changed. How I do things.
Ours too.
And it's great. Honestly, I would say it's a better model. I think we're more successful at it. I think we've changed a lot of things that we probably wouldn't have done if we hadn't have had to. And more than anything, I think we're capturing a newer, broader clientele. I think not just even us alone, but just Paso Robles in general. I mean, people are coming to our area that hadn't come here before. I mean, I work the floor quite a bit now, and it's fun to really ask the question, where you from? How'd you find us? How have you come here before? And it's just new faces. It is so many new faces, and they are, they're discovering that not only is it just the Paso wines, but this area in general is as cool as any place that you can go in the United States. And I just love showing it off. I mean, honestly,
since people have been able to travel again, I mean, you just said you've seen a lot of really new people there, but what are they finding out? Are you hearing anything about that? Like, how are they finding out about Paso as they're coming here as new visitors?
I mean, I think it's a multitude of things, not just word of mouth and social media, but I think it's just in general that, all this legwork that we've all done over the last 10, I mean, even me and Richie, 20, 25 years, all this legwork that we've done of putting the exposure of Paso Robles out there, now they're coming. I mean, all of these trips that they made, a lot of people were probably taking historically, larger, more broader travels. Maybe they restricted themselves. Maybe they decided that doing the plane thing. I just truthfully got back from Las Vegas, and traveling's hard. Traveling's difficult. I mean, post 9/11, it was a new layer of stuff. Now you do pandemic. I mean, traveling's just a lot. It's, every mode of thing that you have to go through is work. And so I think we're just finding that a lot of people were making shorter travels within California. But then when it opened back up, it was crazy how many I was seeing people from different states, not so much different countries, but definitely other states that that I had never, not that I'd never seen it before, but it was their first time. And I think it's media. I mean, I know as the Alliance and what you guys have done have done the exposure.
I was going to say, you better mention Toronto and all this.
But the broader media too has caught on to that. I mean, the broader media, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen more Paso Robles based articles ever. I mean, there's no way. I mean, you guys do. You guys are in the forefront of it. I mean, have you ever experienced this many people talking about Paso Robles?
So it's funny you say that, and this is sitting on my desk, honestly, coincidentally, but also it's my job. But we recently got an 8-page spread in this publication. I hadn't heard of it, honestly. And learned a lot about it. Naturally, Danny Sayao. And it's, I mean, it's an amazing spread they sent. And then here's the positively Paso. And so this is one of our little highlights anyway.
Cool.
Because the reach on this publication is amazing. But stuff like this that they call us up. We didn't even have to pitch to them.
Totally.
Hey, Paso's cool. We want to do a story. And they do an 8-page spread on us. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think our
ad equivalence alone was like $400,000.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, I mean, we had to hustle people to get them to come out here. Now people are like, now we're coming. So show off, show us what you guys do. Show us why you're different. And I mean, all of us, I mean, when Jeffrey was Vinoteca days, I mean, crazy to think that, I mean, you couldn't even, you were, Wednesday nights. I mean, it was a locals night. Now, I mean, freaking good luck finding a table on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean?
Speaking of those Vinoteca days, I don't know. I can't see everybody in this picture, but there's this, if you can.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
That is the old school, baby.
Right?
Oh,
Hilarious.
That's great.
I mean, there's some characters in here.
Which people don't realize now. Isn't that it's not Il Cortile, it's
La Cosecha.
La Cosecha.
Yeah.
That's the old spot.
Yeah.
Nah,
We had so
dude,
much fun back
it's so
then.
funny. It's so funny what it used to be for us as people who've been around here for a long time, and to see it now, it's like, hey, I'm loving being a part of the ride, and I'm loving like promoting and people coming here, and I love being a storyteller now because it's so many new faces. I still am stories of 20 years ago. They're like, no, it wasn't like that before. I'm like, oh yes, it was.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
And
it
then
The
some.
landscape of Paso wine country, although it's changed and had a lot of ups and downs and the like, ultimately it's so much for the better. I mean,
was. Absolutely.
you were talking a lot about
I don't know. We used to have an awful lot of fun back in the day. And we all make more
talking
money
about-
now, but
I think it's funny too. It's like, we always do like, we'll be the next Napa and we're like, no, we'd never be that. And like, and we're not, but in the same respect, we're getting the kind of bodies here that we're not far from it. I mean, and that, I mean, that's being boastful, but I mean, nonetheless, I mean, I would have never I wouldn't say I would have never imagined it, but to see it, it's like, wow, it's pretty freaking crazy.
I love this comment, by the way, from Steve Hewitt. Selfishly, stop hawking Paso.
Seriously, I know.
Is it getting a little too busy here for you?
I can't get a
we
table at
need it.
Jeffrey's.
No reservations, baby. Come on in. Yeah.
You gotta go for lunch, dude. Jenny and I went for lunch not long ago. It was awesome.
I can get in line because there's going to be one.
Hey, Jeff,
Secret.
we're talking a little bit about community, and in 2021, I mean, in 2020, the community really came together to keep the local businesses alive. But in 2021, did we drop off? Did we kind of go a little lazy on you, or were we still there and keeping the local restaurant scene alive? Were we still there, keeping you guys busy and hopefully having that cash register ringing?
Definitely. I mean, definitely. The 2020 was all about locals getting together. No one was traveling, so every restaurant that is open and survived this, we have no one to pay thanks to but the local community, because they kept everybody up and going. And then you got on the other side of it, and like kind of what Joe was saying, tourism started coming back. We did see some of the locals tail off a bit, but it had to do with the fact that you couldn't get a place to park, and town was so nuts. But here we are coming back into this off season, and we really hope that the locals are going to now take advantage of the fact that as crazy busy as it was this past summer, it's going to slow down a little bit for a lot of local businesses. And we all did a great job getting through, but we're going to need another hand come on down to downtown now, because there are parking spots available. But seeing how much community support we got to get us through COVID was unbelievable. And now this past year has been super great. There's been some expansion going on here in downtown. There's a couple new spots opening up. A new steakhouse right around the corner from us will be opening up from the Hemingway winery folks. We got a Napa winery coming in. Get ready, guys. They're coming. The competition is out there, but he's sourcing Paso fruit, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Joe was mentioning about how business models have changed. And I love what you had said earlier that I want to kind of tee up for you, and how you went from actual like physically catering, on-site events to kind of evolved into catering pickups.
Yeah.
What was that? Like, what is that all about?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how we kind of go full circle, and maybe even starting on the second circle of, I started out as a personal chef, working with these guys doing winery events. Then we moved into bigger catering events. Since we've been here at the restaurant, I was still doing winery events, catering events, private clients coming in. And then we got to a point where no one's going anywhere, no one's hosting any parties. So we evolved our business model into the catering pickups, and it's been fantastic. People are coming in. We've probably catered 100 weddings this season, but not being on site. Everybody had to take their 100-person wedding and part down to 25, 30, 40 people. And that's in kind of our sweet spot. So they'll come in here, and pick up brisket and pulled pork and sliced tri-tip and our mac and cheese and have a really killer catering event, but just pared down quite a bit. The chili, dynamite,
and the ribs.
Mhm.
The ribs are, I'm sitting here, I'm snacking on the
I know, I'm
ribs
trying
right
not to shove it in my face right now. I'm thinking, I'm like, who's watching this as we're shoving this in our face and trying
I know,
to,
it's
how
like-
am I looking? The good, Rich?
He's so far so good, Joji.
Well, that's why I eat the ribs with a fork and knife, because I got this stuff here that catches
fork
it.
and knife, buddy. Come on, just get it all over. Get it all
No.
over. I think I packed a wet nap in there for you.
You did actually pack
Come on.
nap, and
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's called the beard diaper.
That'll get you beat up in Chicago eating a rib
Where's
with
your
a
bib?
fork and knife.
You know, I think Jeffrey, you need to get a bib made up. I need a logoed bib.
I like it. I like it.
100%.
You guys taking note? All right.
That's a great
Or maybe like
idea.
a beard mask.
You should actually make
You
them
just
so they're
find a
branded
little
by
hole.
people in the area. I volunteer. You can make a Toronto one that's just basically like a beard
Like that, dude.
on the bib.
A beard bib.
With a bunch of crap caught in it.
Yeah, I gotta tell you guys, it's fun to be here and be able to kind of get back into one of the things that we all kind of started out doing and doing food and wine pairings and having these 4 bottles of wine and having this tray of food in front of us. My staff did an awesome job putting together some boxes for us all, and I keep kind of going back while you guys are talking, taking a little nibble of this, having a little sip of that, seeing what the bomb pairings are. This is what it's all about for us here at the restaurant, and being that kind of cool, casual place where you can come and put your knife and fork down, Toronto. We just pick up that rib, get it all over. We're in the company of friends, family here. You're able to do it, buddy.
He's
Do we
big
eat candy
time now.
bars with a knife and fork?
Well, I'll in person I'll do it.
Do it. Come on, do it. That's not. Oh.
There
You guys,
go.
so
Good
in
practice.
2020,
I want that rib.
2020, we kind of you're brushing your teeth or eating corn. I don't know. In 2020, we put life on hold, basically, in essence, I mean, business on hold, everything on hold. But in many ways, you guys didn't, because you did change your business models and were able to kind of keep going. Rich, you did something, kind of, I mean, you really kind of rolled some dice though in 2020, because you did a major renovation at the winery, at the tasting room with the backyard and everything.
We did. Well, actually, the business was kind of headed that way anyway. I mean, Joji was kind of ahead of the curve with his outdoor spaces, a little more personal attention, a little more table service, a little more of an experience. So that whole business has kind of turned that way. So we took the fact that, well, they closed us down twice, which was stressful enough, because that's where personally, Midnight Cellars generates a lot of our income from our tasting room and our wonderful wine club. Thank you, wine club. So yeah, we took some of the money the government gave us and put it in a bunch of our own money. Had a project that went sky high over our budget and expectations. I kind of call it my best, worst business decision of my life. But now we have a wonderful outdoor space. It's all paid for. The joke that we have here in the family is that the next owners are just going to love it. They'll have a great time. They'll make bank doing it too, because it was done. We did it right, I think. Hired the right people to do the work. So yeah, it's a great place to go. We have a big giant stage now, which is 3 times the size that it was supposed to be, and so we had some snafus
really
along
nice.
the way, but we have a big giant stage, and we have music now every weekend. During the nice months, we'll have it on every Saturday.
Yeah, no,
So it's
fantastic space. And if you, it's a fantastic space. And if you look at what you had before compared to now, what you have now, I mean, it's almost just like build it and they will come. Is that something that you kind of saw?
Dude, we had a tremendous summer. Just having the music was a great draw for people. Having I don't know how many people are watching and how many people are familiar with what we used to have back there, but it's just a beat up old lawn with holes in it, and wasn't very entertaining to be in. Now it's just now it's a venue, now it's a destination, now it's a place you can go and relax. We have a tremendous staff on hand right now that really understands the importance of customer service. So yeah, we have definitely taken this, I guess, break in the norm to kind of try to come out and better ourselves. And now that we are looking at the other side of this, we'll be ready to rock.
Yeah, that's great. Joji, you guys did the same, but you also have food service there. And the cool and interesting part is that you've always been outdoor. You mean pre-COVID and all that kind of stuff. It was, when Jeff was over there too, but it was that walk-up window. How did that fare during the actual COVID time? And then did you change anything afterward? Was there, some adjustments that you had to make in 2021?
I mean, the funny thing was for us is we became a full service restaurant. Basically what we became. And when Jeff and I started, if you guys aren't familiar, Jeffrey, when he first started was at least, besides just catering, he was running the kitchen window here, and it was fantastic and highly successful. And then when Jeffrey moved on, we kind of kept that mentality going. But it's when COVID hit in, I think, I was fortunate enough to have Megan Loring as a good friend, and Megan really kind of spent some time with her, and she really kind of came on as a consultant to really kind of give me some guidance into how to go about doing a smaller menu wine pairing type of experience that was repeatable, and it was not only repeatable, but also focused. It's quarterly. It's based on
seasonal.
Yeah, seasonal and local ingredients. And then, what spawned from that was just the table service. I mean, it's crazy how many employees I brought on. Obviously, Jeffrey knows all about this. It's like the table service and the interaction and all the extra layering of things that you need to do to create this whole experience was, I wasn't prepared for, but I was on the floor with them. So I was on a learning curve myself. But it's great because of the attachments that you can get, the interactions you can get. We're not only talking about the food, we're talking about the wine. And my wine club has exploded. It's tripled in size because of the fact that we are talking about people and we're talking to people about ourselves, about the food. And we are talking about Paso, and we're talking about all these things that help them get to know us better. Whereas before, when we had these tasting bars and people just came up to the window and got food, we didn't have a chance to tell our story. Now we tell our story to every person that sits down. And then now that you tell the story, then they can come vested in you. And then it just expands from there. And that's been the biggest thing that's been the winner. And I think that more and more people and more wineries are starting to do that because it's real and it makes sense. I mean, if you want people,
it's kind of like a silver lining type of thing. But do you think this was always something born in Paso anyway, no matter what? Like, we're always going to be this kind of region that would really embrace, and appreciate our visitors?
I think so, but I just think we didn't know how to tell the story yet, and we didn't have the vehicle to do it. We kind of always felt like, we have a tasting room bar, and this is how we're going to do it. And then you go up to Napa and you see, in Sonoma, and you see these highly invested in, palaces per se, and they're doing that because they have a scratch and they were able to do it. But then now that we've started to become a more of a destination, I think people will have a higher expectation for Paso, and that if you're not doing that, why wouldn't you be? I mean, why wouldn't you be kind of trying to show off a little bit and giving people the best experience possible? We're doing it our way, and we're doing it in a style that's also very much the root of what Paso is. It's very, we're people who have kind of bootstraps, people started from whatever we could get our hands on, and we became something. I mean, Richie and his dad, what they, selling off everything they ever owned to come out here from Chicago to make it happen. Jeffrey,
don't do it. Run the other way. It sounds much cooler than it really is.
In Mammoth, and Jeffrey was just, chefing up all over Mammoth, and then decided to uproot himself and come hang out with his dad and start a business here. I mean, that's what a lot of Paso is. It's a lot of guys like ourselves who have decided that we're going to throw all of our chips in and we're going to run the show the best way we can. And that's real people. Not to say that other wine industries aren't the same, but that's especially what we are. We're really real people, and you get to see them, you get to touch them. And I think that's one of the funniest things is like more people are like, are you really the owner? Because we have like little name tags. Richie gives me shit all the time.
Name tags.
Name tags, and he's all people are like, are you the owner? I'm all, yeah. You're like, I'm cleaning up their mess, or I'm bussing, or I'm bringing them their food. They're like, I wouldn't have expected to see you here. I'm like, well, this is my place. And
I spend 1 hour a week here, whether I want to or not.
Yeah, I'm usually doing all the jobs nobody wants to do because the other staff needs to do what they're supposed to do, and I'm picking up after it, and then the same time, like, oh, I'll talk to you about wine if you want to BS about wine.
Or booze,
yeah. That's the story. That's the story of the life down here, and I got to tell you, guys are really inspiring me because we've only had this brick and mortar, the restaurant downtown for 3 years, and knowing you both for as long as I have, and it only took you guys 25 years to get your stuff together and give your consumer.
It's not together.
It's not together.
Well, you're doing a better job of fooling people than you were 10 years or 20 years ago.
That's a T-shirt right there, Jeff.
That's next Harvest shirt.
We're doing better at fooling people than we were 25 years ago. I love it. That's marketing right there. It's marketing.
Yeah, that's what. I mean, to be in the business for as long as you guys have, and getting up there, both your dads got this thing started, and the way you guys have taken over, it's inspiring to me. We've all had our history together from back on 46 West and Anderson Road and that whole vibe, and to now have a place downtown, and knowing that how much cool things we used to do back in the day, and what we got going on right now individually is awesome. It's a testament to the community. It's a testament to the hard work that we've all put in, because there's no doubt they've been coming in super, super hard. I think I notice a lot of folks coming in from Sensario, not to take away from the hard work that the wine industry puts in and the food industry puts in, but just as a community, how many people are starting to figure out that, hey, we're only a few hours away from San Francisco, from LA. We can get here from Baco or from Fresno, and like kind of what Joe was saying, it was getting difficult for folks to travel long distances, but the local California community is like, yeah, we've been there, done that with Napa Sonoma, and we love it, but we'd like you guys a little more.
Hey, Jeff, we've got a question. Do you strictly serve Paso or Central Coast wines in the restaurant?
You know what? No, sir. No, sir. We do as much as we can to bring in good wine. We were kind of talking about the Vinoteca days, and even when we started the restaurant, as much as I want to continue to support every winery in town, there's 200 wineries in Paso. So it becomes bringing in more wines that from outside the area. Look at these guys, right? I remember in the Vinoteca days, the business model was about, hey, the tourist comes in to make sure that we're drinking Paso wines. But the local community is like, I know what these wines are and I love them. What can we taste from outside the region? So I've been having some fun bringing in some cool international stuff, bringing some stuff from around the area so we can taste what's going on here. And I tell you what, the more stuff I bring in from the North Coast, the more stuff I bring in from, internationally, it shows us better to be able to say, hey, this is a wine coming in from Spain, or this is a wine coming in from Napa Sonoma, and it's fantastic. Pair it up against what some of the stuff we're doing here from the Zins that the boys brought in, the white blends. The more we can focus or showcase some of the international stuff or some of the out of the area stuff, I think it makes our area that much more legit. We're making some good wine here, you guys.
I want to go on record personally as saying that I have almost destroyed this entire bottle of Joji's Zinfandel.
I've had a little bit of everything. I've been bouncing around, so.
Let's talk about wine. All right, so it is a wine show today. It's a wine and food show.
Slurpee.
If I try to slurp down this whole bottle of Zinfandel, I'm in trouble.
I do.
Agreed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna need drivers after this.
Well, you have one.
You already
so
have
we're-
one.
Yeah, a gopher, if you will.
I don't have a driver, everybody. I don't really. And
Sorry, Bravo. Our bad. Having fun.
so first, actually, let's talk about Claret Blanche because
Pickle wine. I want to tell you about the pairings. I've been going around the
Yeah.
dial here. Wow, that's nice.
Claire's good.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
right there.
Jeffrey's
on
a big.
this one.
Jeffrey's got in the whole wine som community now, so he's the most educated palate we got in the house right now.
Indeed.
I'm still doing a better job of fooling.
Yeah, right. I also want to say one other thing, give a tribute to Chef Jeff, is that I can't even believe it's only been 3 years since you've been down there because
Yeah,
in 3
seriously.
years,
I know.
you have become like a Paso institution. Everybody
Yeah.
knows you. Everybody recommends you. You look on Facebook, all the people in all the groups are like, whoa, where should I go? Where should I go? It's always Jeffrey's. So I want to give you kudos for that because you're doing something right because every single post that I've seen says that you're the man. So I can't believe it seems like you've been there 10 years.
Yeah, I'll back that up. I mean, it's like and what I love about it is you're the vibe, you're that kind of vibe of Paso that you're bringing back. What I feel like Richie and I like to feel was that same kind of like harken back to what it used to be. I know there's so many new players in here all the time, but we got this cool vibe that we've always had that I think you're carrying on downtown and you're successful and it's a little bit more comfort, I mean, it's what people want to go to and they feel that they're, they can expect and that they want to come back to time and time again. So kudos to you, brother.
Especially when
Yeah,
you
if you
got a big
haven't
old
eaten-
wine
if you haven't
buzz
eaten-
on.
If you haven't eaten over at Jeff's, you definitely need to get over there. It's a great place, super casual, great wines, great food, which that's what I would like, Jeff, for you to talk a little bit about. What are we snacking on? Because this salmon taco for one thing, and
Oh,
Richie's shard he was an amazing little kind of combo together, just like big flavors and it was so delicious.
I wish I had enough food to be able to share with everybody who's watching and joining us. Sorry that we're going to be grubbing down in front of you.
I know, I kind of feel bad about it.
I feel
not bad enough not to
Come
do
on
it.
down. Tell you what, I just had a bite of our salmon taco, and with that Chardonnay, with that Midnight Chardonnay, great job. It's state grown, buddy, and with the Willow Creek District on there representing. Yeah, that's classic, man. That's the classic pairing I'm looking for.
I was Willow Creek before Willow Creek was cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Willow Rich.
that's been part of it. So I've been going around the dial and I put together a little box for everybody to be able to kind of taste a little bit of the samplings we do. I mean, we got barbecue in the name and we do killer tri-tip brisket ribs, classic barbecue, but we're also doing a salmon taco. We're also doing paella. And it brings it back to my style of food and wanting to be in that place where it's cool and casual and come in and drink good wine and eat some good food and hang out with some good people. And let's talk about the wine and the pairings. We can geek out on it a little bit. You get over to the Claret Blanc with this paella. That's one of my favorite pairings right now. So I think that's working out super nicely.
Well, and the Claret, especially like I was just tasting the salmon and the Chardonnay, like all that freshness and the acidity and the minerality with the salmon was amazing. And then rolling to the Claret. The Claret's got a little bit more of that kind of heavier, richer kind of, toastier, creamier feel to go with that paella. That's pretty dang money.
Like urinal mint a little bit on the Claret. A little bit of perfumey urine. It's delicious. Harkens back
nothing
to college.
speaks white wine like urinal mint. Really. I mean, I can't stress that enough.
Oh wait, I have one. I have a thing too. We were talking about restaurants in Boston. I phoned a friend. The Oregon Club in Ashland, Washington Square Tavern in Brookline, Nancy's Airfield Cafe, which has the best mussels in the world, and Lock 50 in Worcester. Worcester,
Um,
big hair.
Thank you, Rich.
This is
So-
great. So yeah, we've been going back and forth with the whites. What do you got, Chris?
Question for Joe. How well does claret age? And typically, what do you pair with it besides this awesome paella?
Claret is really one of the most ageable white wines that you're going to find out of the. Obviously, there's not a lot of it around here in the United States domestically, but internationally, some of the most highly regarded white wines out of Chateauneuf and Chateauneuf de Pop in France, and then a lot of stuff in the Roussillon and a few other places in the southern Rhone. Claret is really one of the most substantial grapes there. What I like about Claret is there's a lot of the skins themselves are similar to Chardonnay. A lot of texture, a lot of intrinsic tannin that can go either way. You can either make it fresh, you can make it aromatic, or you can make it with more texture and you can put it in a barrel, you can surly it, you can add more volume to it. It's really a pretty versatile grape like that. There's a reason why they make sparkling with it. That's why they make brandies with it. It's similar to like a Trebbiano. It has all of these opportunities to be what you want it to be, and it grows pretty handily in a lot of different environments, though it does like the warmth, which is great. It's a late ripener. So the reason why it does very well in Paso, Paso's got some slopes, and actually this slope that the Claret's from is not very dissimilar to Rich's Chardonnay. It's both Willow Creek, but Richie's, I know his Chardonnay's got a little bit more of kind of a direct easty kind of slope, whereas this one's got more of like a northwest slope, but same kind of chalk kind of profile with a decent amount of topsoil. So you're going to get a vein of that kind of signature Willow Creek minerality in both of these wines. And I don't know, winemaking wise, it's probably fairly similar, Rich. I mean, I did barrel fermented on this on Lee's, so it's probably somewhat similar.
It's very similar. It's actually, I'm just kidding about the whole year thing.
Oh, are you backtracking now?
No, I'm just joking. I thought we were supposed to joke, so I'm joking. No,
you're keeping it real, Rich.
Is,
you're keeping it real.
I put a good hurt on that bottle as well. So yeah, but it's pretty much the same. Our Chardonnay, I put through a little ml. I don't know if you do any ml on the.
That's full ml.
The Claret is a full ml, so you kind of get that same richness, that same. I hate to say buttery because that's kind of a negative thing now.
Totally.
But yeah, when you're getting over here on the west side for white wines, it's all about minerality, and it can be so impacted with just a little bit of oak and a little bit of surly aging and a little bit of this. That's all I do. So very similar in styles, indeed. I mean, obviously the Chardonnay is like 10 times better. I mean, everybody knows that. That's
for the
just being nice
consumer to judge.
I just also want to say, Jeff, that Hannah definitely likes the salmon taco. I think she ate it in 2 bites.
It's going great with great. I mean, with both of these wines, you talk about the minerality in both these wines. These are not these big, over the top oaky, over the top buttery. There's fruit, there's acid, there's minerality. Those are the things that we talk about here when it comes to wine pairing, food and wine pairing. That you guys have finally, after 25 years, gotten it figured out. Huh? We don't need this over.
We're still faking it.
Touche.
Yeah. You don't have to pick at the end of the season when it's all super ripe. And I think this is as I'm going through some wine education that I've been going through for a little while, but to taste these wines and they have this great bit of minerality and this great acid component. And as a chef, that's the first component I'm looking for to pair food and wine together. How's the acid? Is this going to stand up? Is this going to be able to cut through some of the fat? And we talk about the oiliness of the salmon, and I put avocado on it, and we do a little bit of our slaw that has some creaminess. It's really a dynamite pairing. Great job.
Yeah, the Claret too, by the way, with the acid on it and that little bit of heat that is in the paella. I don't know if it's coming from the sausage or if it's something that is just in the paella itself. absolutely makes that so much more of a bright kind of it almost all encompassing in your palate paella, but with the wine, it kind of just subdues it a little bit and lengthens it. It's like, I think that's a great pairing.
I can
Spice,
see that, yeah.
Red Blanche.
But even better with the paella burrito that I know that my boy Jeff is almost like the I don't know, like the wave maker of making something cool and different is the paella burrito.
That was invented at the Barton kitchen window, and we brought it over.
That's right, it was.
Love it. I love it when we do these paella festivals here that hopefully we're going to bring it back. The Pinot and Paella Festival will be coming back to the Templeton Park
Great party.
here in June.
Oh, that was a great
paella-
festival.
Yeah,
That was
I think
fun.
it's one of the
T-Town,
best food.
throw a little Templeton Eagles.
Yeah. Templeton.
I have a question real quick. This is a fast one, you guys. But Chris, what are your favorites? So to me, Boston area restaurants, I have one. It's Cantina Italiana. It's in the North End. And it's my favorite because my cousin John owns it. So he's my
Now I know where to go to get a
but
free
he's
meal,
bigger than
right?
me. So it's probably best that I actually say that it is my favorite restaurant. But it was also John's birthday just a couple days ago. Happy belated, buddy.
Happy
But
birthday, John.
amazing,
Yeah, John,
amazing
John.
restaurant there in the North End of Boston. It's actually the oldest restaurant in the North End. And he purchased it a few years ago, knowing the owners over some time, and has been active in the restaurant industry for quite some time there in Boston. So check it out if you can. You guys, I want to talk a little bit about now some of the red wines here that we have. Rich Zinfandel. This Zinfandel that you have, there we go. This guy right here, 93 points recently from Matt Ketman over there.
You get a golf clap for that one, buddy.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's our highest rated Zinfandel that we've ever had from Matt or anyone at the Enthusiast, actually. So we were real pleased with that. You know, I try not to put too much stock in making my life depend on scores. But when you get a good score, it definitely helps. And it's always nice when somebody like an adult, if you will, likes your wine. So I mean, I know I like it, but we all know where I am.
You know, your kids like it, but other than that,
Right. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's Estate Zin, our very first harvest off of our place was 1998.
I remember that.
What's that?
I remember that 98 vintage.
It was a horrid vintage.
That was pre-roof.
Remember the Cabernet Franc that we bought? I won't mention the grower.
It was what, 19?
Oh, I know this story.
19 bricks with not a leaf on the vines.
Nope. It's really
We're
good.
all like,
Cab Franc.
"Whoa, we're
Come
gonna
get
get
it."
some Cabernet Franc, and we just walked out there and stared at the vines and like, all right, we'll take it. It was awful.
Is it the
98.
one that? Is there another vineyard that has leaves on it that we should be looking at?
I mean, I was relatively new to the show, but I thought that vines should have leaves on them when you harvest.
I was
I don't
24 and I had no idea at the time what the hell I was talking about. Either.
I didn't either. But this Zin actually did turn out well. We only got like 2 or 3 barrels of it. Scored 90 in the Wine Spectator, which won't even rate my wines now.
Oh, Richie, it just takes.
This is I'm bitter. But this wine here has always been basically the same thing. It's 100% Zin, all grown on the home place. It's remarkably consistent year to year. You could go back, well, 20, whatever, however many years, and taste them, and they all taste the same.
But what's different with 2018 though?
What's that? Sorry?
What's different with 2018?
2018.
There's something different with this one.
The only thing about 2018 that I think is really different is that we really had a good vintage. And I know winemakers talk about, oh wow, this is the vintage of blah blah blah. The 2018, we're just releasing, or we've been released on the 18s for a while. They're pretty good. They're like real wines. They're like a real winemaker made them. They are balanced. They're
that
big
you?
and Paso, so they're going to have higher alcohols. This Zin is, I don't know what it is, but it's up there.
We all know what it is, Rich.
We all know.
It's 16 plus, so don't drink a whole
Around
bottle by
there.
yourself. I learn from my mistakes. But it's a
But
well-rounded.
it's not hot though, honestly. It's
No,
not.
that's a thing. That's a great
It's
point.
kind of like Richie. It's just not that hot.
That's
It's
cold-blooded.
big, it's over the top, it's not
I'm
that
being
hot.
repressed. I'm being repressed. But the
Got you
only
back.
thing about the Zin I would recommend is don't drink a bottle by yourself. I did it a couple of times and it never ended well for me. So share it. But if you like big, ripe, hearty Paso Zin, this is a pretty good bottle of wine.
It is.
And I gotta say the Joji Zin, I've really just bullied this bottle almost into submission.
I just ate the ribs with yours in is off the hook.
That's why I picked
That is
it.
far
When Chef said that he
Yeah.
was making ribs, I'm like, I'm going from Mari to Zin for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like the sweetness and the spice of that barbecue sauce yours in. It's like they were made
yeah.
to be
That was made
Hey,
right together.
And a little smoky and a little herby and a little
Amazing.
yeah. Well, thank you, but this is like I said, it's very consistent year to year, and our estate vineyard for the Zin in particular is just a really
So
special.
is this the 20th year? Is the 20th year of this vineyard?
This was my 23rd harvest.
But
Right,
this
me
particular
and,
vintage,
But
what we're drinking was the 20th.
Zin.
20th. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm not so good at math.
you're doing good.
Yeah.
At the end of this harvest,
That's what we're here for.
you guys know Fernando. He's my main man.
Yep.
Fernando.
Today, after the end of this harvest, I hugged him. I'm like, for 23 consecutive years, we have harvested the same vineyard together. He's been with me through the whole thing. He actually helped plant our vineyard as a member of the planting crew. And then my dad fell in love with him and hired him, and he's been with us ever since. So he's been around a long time. We both had families born and raised while we've been, so he gets a special shout out. I know he's not listening because he's partying his ass off in Mazatlan right now.
There was a time in 2005 where Richie and I visited Fernando in Mazatlan this time of year, and that is a segment in itself.
I don't know that we need to talk about that trip. He was like mayor of Mazatlan, just banging on the side of his car. Hola, mamacita, ¿dónde vas?
Okay, so
I'm not saying anything.
you guys, I knew actually that the show could do what it's doing,
Wait a minute, wait.
A devolving.
We got 3 minutes.
but
3
I'm going to
minutes.
keep it going because we still have one more wine. We still have some chili. We did not talk about the tri-tip slider.
Oh, chili's great. I just ate my whole bowl.
That paired really well
Slider-
with the Zin as well.
Both
And as we get
Zins.
into the territory,
Territory.
the thing about the I like to think about the combination of flavors that I put together in my style and the combination of flavors you guys are putting together in these wines. There's complexity. These are not, simple one-note wines. And as a chef, we're always looking for multiple layers of flavor. And when you get an opportunity to taste, like for instance, getting into this territory, same kind of thing. The spiciness that went well with the Zin. Joey, what this is a Zin base blend, but not a complete Zin.
This is actually kind of jumping on with Jeff here. This is a blend that actually I will say it's a Zin, Monastrell, Syrah, and Petit Syrah blend. And this is a full Ducey family production here. So this is Dante Ducey's Zinfandel, the Petit Syrah from Matt's, Ducey's Ranch, which is right behind Target, which you guys all know. I mean, it's a dry farmed as well. The Syrah and the Mourvèdre / Monastrell. Did I put Mourvèdre or Monastrell? Oh, I put Mourvèdre. The Mourvèdre, that's all from Paper Street. So these are all 3 different Ducey properties that I made a blend out of that totally in the vein of what Jeff's talking about. It's all about the flavor, the spice, all these little elements that make it different. And we've been wanting to do this for a while because these 3 ranches that I've been buying from for the last, I don't know, not all of them have been in production for the last 10 years, but in this same mentality of like taking all of these little interesting elements and making them kind of play well together. We brought the Carignan on in the years following. So to us, it's the old school varietal, like the dry farm, old vine kind of mentality of like all these different elements that kind of come together. And goes so well with how Jeff cooks and what Jeff throws out there. It's got such a spice, sweet, yummy texture that kind of comes through. So I'm stoked. It pairs so great with this wine.
Get a bite of that. I threw in there a little tri-tip slider. There's nothing says Central Coast Paso Robles.
Totally.
Like tri-tip. Yeah.
That's what's left of mine.
It was good.
I can't eat it with a fork and knife. It doesn't really work. And I'm not about to chow into it in front of you guys. So,
Joe, I want to ask
you know what your new nickname is, Toronto? Fork and knife. Jesus Christ. You gotta be kidding me.
Old fork and knife. There he is.
Old fork and knife. Hey, here comes fork and knife walking down the lane.
Hey, what's the deal with Monastrell and Morvet?
Sorry. I thought that was Monastrell. Well, as we all know, most of the Monastrell around here is Graciano. And that was just due to some kind of tagging of nursery stock that they thought was Monastrell, which is actually Graciano. So you're going to see a lot of badass Graciano-based wines here soon. Which is a fantastic varietal. And, but it has no real comparables to what we call traditional Mourvedre. It's kind of a cross between like Graciano really feels like it's halfway between Mourvedre and Grenache, and
with a little bit of spice.
And has some similarities to Carignan. So It's really cool that it happened. And you're going to end up seeing it being a really cool fixture. Paso Robles wines, because it does really well. It's going to kick ass. It just was on purpose. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And you'll see more Monastrell coming in, but I've got a few different plantings of it now, and it's super cool. It's fragrant.
And there's a few straight single varietal Gracianos that are out there already in Paso that are kind of embracing that whole kind of big funky mistake that happened here. And I think we'll probably end up doing in 2020.
Isn't that what they call Joji?
A show on Graciano.
They did a Joji.
I think it'll be fun.
The big funky mistake.
Yeah.
But it always works out beautifully.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Does it really?
We'll find out.
Well, every vintage is the best vintage, Rich. So of course.
That's right.
So are we going to see more Monastrell, or are we going to see more Graciano as a
Graciano?
I think you'll see more Graciano. What's cool about the Graciano thing is that you're going to see it done on some really cool sites. I think you're going to have a lot of people who planted in places where they were looking to have it as Monastrell, turned out to be Graciano, but it's going to be on premium dirt and it's going to be on premium terroir. So you're going to see Graciano come out of this area at its very best.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I mean, an honest mistake that's going to turn out fantastic, kind of like Joji.
Wow.
Nicely tied in.
Very well done. You guys, we're at an hour, and we promise everybody who watches the Paso Robles Wine Hour that we're at an hour when we do this show. So I'm going to tell everybody real quick that we're at an hour. However, I did not get to what was the best of 2021 necessarily for the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance. A couple things. We were able to get back out in the market and actually do much of the work that we do, which is going out and doing master classes on the Paso AVA for trade, for media, hosting media here in Paso, all of those types of things. It's been great to get back to it. We've had to, of course, accommodate for all of those COVID protocols. So we try to make sure everybody is vaccinated who's a guest who comes to Paso, because of course, in turn, we tell them, everybody that they're meeting and same is also been vaccinated and is also, of course, not sick or showing any symptoms and stuff. And so it's been really good to be able to actually do that again, because again, being able to sell wine, it's an interesting industry. It's not like mayonnaise. You're not trying to taste people on mayonnaise to sell them mayonnaise, right? But you are teaching or tasting them on wine to be able to sell wine. And so for us to be able to get back out in the market and meet people, especially those that are influencers in the industry, be it sommeliers or
You said mayonnaise, right?
I love mayonnaise.
I do too. I would love to taste mayonnaise.
Called aioli.
I would go anywhere to taste mayonnaise.
Jeffrey, aioli tasting / mayo tasting.
That's right.
I'm in.
I'm
in.
pairing with you.
I can be there in 15 minutes.
I make my own.
so
Can
it's
you
been
make
good in
multiple?
2021
There's a joke in
to
that
be
too,
able to get
somewhere.
out there and do that again for us. And that's been the best part about 2021 for the Wine Alliance,
Good.
being able to get back out in the market. We've had some wonderful experience out in New York and Chicago and in DC, and of course, bringing people here. and
I'm so proud of you, Chris. You're killing
What
Am I
it.
we are
getting
looking
paid overtime
forward
for
to-
this? Am I getting paid overtime?
what we're looking forward to in 2022 is doing more of that and also expanding our reach a little bit more and being able to do some of the consumer events that we've been able to, or we had to put off. And so we will be bringing back Wine Fest. We will be bringing back a form of festival, I should say, in the springtime in March, yet to be officially named. And we will be doing a lot more things out in market. And so that's something that we are looking forward to doing. This is dangerous, but I'm going to ask now my guests what they are looking forward to doing in 2022 that might be something new, something different, something that they used to do in 2019. I'm going to start with Rich.
Well, fork and knife. Let me just tell you exactly how I look at this. I'm looking forward to, number one, a real Mayfest, because that used to be the coolest party in the world. I'm really looking forward to that.
Mayfest, AKA Wine Fest, or Paso Wine Fest as it's been renamed.
Yeah, it'll never be renamed. Number two, I'm really looking forward to mayonnaise tastings, widespread mayonnaise tastings.
All over the appellation.
I figured that we'll never be invited back to this program again, so this is my last shot.
Put it all out there.
I'm super excited about Blend Fest, because that was always one of the fun parties. I stepped out of the organization for a couple of years, now I'm back. Blend Fest is awesome. It's on the coast. I'll be there. I'll in any respect that maybe I'm kicked out now because fork and knife.
It's in February 22nd. JB is going to tell me as she walks back in the room here in a minute.
Dude, if you're looking at visiting Paso Robles at all, it's in Cambria, but it's badass. It's right on the coast, and it is worth going to it. I would go to it I did go to it as just a participant, because it's such a fun thing. I'm looking forward to the world getting back to medium normal. I'm looking forward to an awesome Christmas. I headed back to Chicago to freeze my nards off on Saturday. Not going to get above 30 degrees, I don't think, the whole time I'm there, which sucks. I'm looking forward to a prosperous year with good friends and good family, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Awesome.
Strong.
Jeffrey.
It's a lot to follow. It's a lot.
Please
It is
say
a lot to
mayonnaise
follow.
tasting.
Yeah, you can keep the mayonnaise tasting.
I make my own.
I'm looking forward to a good year. I don't know what normal is anymore. We've only been open for a relatively short period of time, and the normalcy has come and it's gone and it's changed and it's evolved. So I'm looking forward to the positivity of bringing people back into town and showing off our wines and being able to talk about our food. The prosperity of the whole community. My success is based on the success of our whole region, and I've always felt that since I moved to this town. It means a lot to me to be a part of this fantastic community and to be embraced. So we're gonna just keep doing what we do over here, and we work hard and we produce a good product, and we enjoy tasting the wines and the fruits of the labors of all of our neighbors, and and keep doing what we do. And I'm hoping for the best for everyone as a whole. What you guys do is fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting on the other side of my semester. I got a break here in a couple of days. I've been working on this Masters of Wine and Beverage Management program for the Culinary Institute of America, and hearing all you guys talk about wine and geek out on wine. That's all I've been doing. It's kind of waving the Paso flag on an international scale. We're making some of the best wine. We're putting out some of the best food in the country, in the world. And the more people are aware of that, the better off we are. So, I appreciate you guys bringing me on the show and hanging out with a couple of my buddies and mentors in the Paso wine scene. And here's to you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas, man.
I can't believe you have the energy, Chef, to go back and go to more school. That just sounds hard for me to even imagine. Well, number one, they wouldn't let me in any kind of program now.
No, you only got one shot at it.
Yeah.
And they're
All right,
good.
Joji.
They're good.
Joji, I'd love to hear from you. What are you looking forward to in 2022? And talk a little bit about what's going to be happening also for you guys.
Actually, I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, it's like, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, excuse us for actually having a good time because, we're all friends here. So if on the Paso Wine Hour, if you guys thought we were being a little bit like goofy and out of bounds, that's who we are. And these are all friends and we hang out and do this all the time. So this was fun for me. And I think that's what I hope all of us can have a little bit more of. It's fun. There's been a lot of stress. There's been a lot of anxiety over the last year. Wonder it's going to be, what are we going to have? What are we going to be on the other side? I'm not saying we're on the other side, but it's nice to to kind of chase friendships again and chase family again and be around people that you love and hope that you can find some level of normalcy, even though as we've gone through this whole thing we've changed so much, but there's still some level of humility and humanity that we've had in the past that I want to bring and hopefully come back to it. I mean, because there's so much that life was about, and it's nice to see it, kind of coming full circle again. And that's why I love this whole group of us. I mean, we've all seen a lot of stuff and we've come a long way, and it's good to see that we've survived. It's good to see that we've done well. And it's awesome to see that we're all still humble and have some level of humility to the fact that we've done well. And Paso's done well, and I'm stoked for Paso. I have a lot of plans in the future. We have a lot of plans for our property, and we have a lot of plans for I've got a few vineyards I'm planting this year of ground that I've acquired. I'm really excited about that. And that's a new venture for me. And I've got 2 teenage daughters, and so I've got an interesting, shelf out there that I'm.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah.
Well, Chef.
And I've watched them grow up, and I'm watching them kind of blossom out and become great young women, and my wife and I are enjoying that, and it's nice to be able to spend some time with family and get a little bit of slice of life back and not be so wound up into what may or may not happen. So I'm just stoked to see it all happen. So
hey, Joji, if you want to feel old, Jojo man just turned 21.
I know.
My baby,
So
and just so you know, he's not Joe G, because he lets you know that when he was 3 years old.
He's not Joji. There's only one Joji.
There's only one Joji. And that's how long Rich and I have been together, that I was around when little Joe Hartenberger was born, and now he's 21. So it's awesome.
You were around when Hannah Rose was born too, mister. She's 23.
How did I get this old?
And then my son Joe actually calls him Big Joe and Big Joe's Winery. So
how old's Big Joe now? Or little
Joe, because mine is a Joe, and so you've always been Big Joe. You're Big Joe and Big Joe's Winery.
How old's Joe now?
13. 14. Sorry.
Oh man, what happened?
13, 14. It's all the same.
Okay. Anyway, as we get into the third hour of the past, we probably need to get going. I do want to say big shout out to who helps produce this show, which is Jennifer Bravo. She works here. She's our consumer marketing manager. And she's right there. And she's on camera, but this is good fun. As I said at the beginning of the show, we're at show 75. That's so weird. You can go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, and find them all there. You can also go to pasowine.com. If you've actually lasted this long now into this show at an hour and 15 minutes, which is definitely the longest show we've ever done. So now you guys have that all going for you, actually, as being the longest Paso Wine Hour, and that people actually having the amount of time to do it. We appreciate all of you tuning in. We will be doing more shows, of course, in 2022.
Just not with us.
A little bit, with maybe some shows being on site, some shows being one-on-one, still doing this format. We want to be able to do that. But then as we were talking in this show about being able to get back out in the market and everything, we're not always going to be able to do a show every Thursday, but we're going to do our best to make sure it's on pasowine.com as to when the next show is, right? JB, she's going to stick me to it.
That's right.
All right. And so as Richie and Joe and polish off their wines, I want to thank a lot of the regular watchers, our people, our audience, because there's so many of them out there. I love this comment though here at the end from Mike Wilkie. One of the best things about 2021 is the Paso Wine Hour. Thanks so much, Mike. And thanks to everybody else who ends up watching and visiting and reaching out to me. We really appreciate it because we know we have some Paso Wine fans out there, especially to everybody on Facebook, not Book. That's bad. That's bad. 16+% Zinfandel on the from Midnight Cellars.
Blame.
I am going to blame you. Yeah, I am.
Do it.
And
mayonnaise tasting. Paso Robles wine and mayonnaise.
So thank you, everybody.
I make my own.
Happy New Year. Have a
Here's
great
to Chris
2022.
Toronto for doing a badass job.
Chris Toronto, you are the man. I love you so much,
Toronto.
brother, and you always.
Boys, we'll see you. I know I'm going to see all three of you at some point in time really, really soon. And to everybody else, we'll see you in 2022. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
See you, everyone.
Bye, guys. Cheers.